Okay, so I want to talk about internships. I know everybody does those differently, and it depends on what size of school you have. Each year I have like, I don't know, between 50 and 70 students between my first and second year classes. And so obviously it's going to look a lot different than, schools that have maybe like 5 to 10 people in their program. But either way, there may be some ideas that you can pull here and there. But because I'm working with so many mentor teachers, there's all kinds of questions. To be honest, I lose my mind with internships. And this just came about this year after like 10 years of teaching this class. But so I put together like a mentor folder. And so that way they have a copy of everything that my students have. So the calendar is in there. The expectations are in there. I found that my people that intern or take an intern every year, I'm like, okay, they get it. They don't have questions, and I maybe don't forget to check in with them as much or something like that. And from their end, that could be taken as that maybe I don't hold my students accountable. I don't know, but I just felt there was some kind of like lack in communication there, and to be honest, it's like just super hard to keep up with that many people. But so this was really helpful, and they were obviously pleased to get it because it tells every little bitty thing that I expect of my students. Responsibility, about their assignments, all that. And then also it gives them all of the information. This is like a condensed lesson plan information sheet. So like every way that I've taught my kids to write a lesson plan is in here, along with, and then it's in a PowerPoint form, and then the template I have given my kids, and along with the rubric. And then that way, when they're helping my kids with their lesson plans, they at least like know what they've been taught. And then my kids fill out, or they complete 2 videos per 9 weeks. 2 video take lessons per 9 weeks. And so the very first lesson that they do is graded by their mentor. And so they give them feedback on how to interact with the students and all this. And after that, they're videotaped. But I do think though this year I'm going to start having the mentor fill this out each time. Couple reasons. One, obviously, I don't know all the grades and how to efficiently and teach all the grades and how to respond to students. And so my feedback, even though I feel like it's valuable, might not be like spot on for that grade level or for how that teacher runs their classroom. So I think that's great. But also, just not all the time, but there have been times when the mentor has left the room because my kid's been teaching a lesson, like they got it under control, so they're going to leave. Obviously, that makes my students nervous, and or the teacher won't be paying attention. The students know that, and so they may act up or whatever. So this just keeps the mentor paying attention, and also will help my kids with their feedback. Every lesson they teach or that they video, they have to do a self-graded rubric. Also, since they videotape so many lessons, and there are so many of them, and to keep me from losing my mind, which happens frequently, they have to give the times for each of their, so when did they complete their set? When did they say their objective? List the times. They're required to ask 3 discussion questions. So when did you ask those? And then when did your assessment happen? When did your closure happen? And then how long was your total video? So this just helps me, like I don't watch the whole, let's see, it's 15 to 25-minute video. I can't watch 70 of those. And so what I do, I like watch the beginning, and then I'll get their set and their objective, and then I'll skip to the content, and I'll try, find the questions, whatever. But since I started doing this, you know, sometimes maybe I'll miss, it keeps me from like missing their objective or their set. Like if they did it at the wrong time, at least I could give them some points. But it keeps me from having to like go through there and like search for things and try to find things. Also, it cuts down on the questions that they, or not the questions, the accusations that they bring back at me, because they're like, I stated my objective. And, you know, and then I have to go back, pull their video and find it. This way they watched it. They know they didn't. They didn't even put the time there. And so this is a grade that they get a grade for the self-reflection on here. And then I've also included things like, did intern follow all rules regarding the camera that they have to check out, or the iPad that they checked out? Just because it's just another level of accountability. If we have to have something in our classrooms and we don't have it, then, you know, we're held accountable as teachers. And so they need that also. And if they're not, if it's not a point somewhere about your kids, but if it's not, they're not getting a point for it, they don't care who they're inconveniencing. So I just needed an extra level of accountability there. And then the videotape lesson rubric is just like the self-graded rubric, except without the spaces to fill in, because it's what I'm using. And then back here, any assignments I give throughout their internship, so like the observation form, I just feel like if somebody's observing me, I'd want to know like what kind of things they're looking for, so that's in there. And then my students do a weekly reflection, and so that weekly reflection is in there. And then the journal prompts that they're given are in there also. Now this, I can't believe I came up with this, but you probably couldn't see that, it was blurry, but possible intern tasks. I don't want my students to just sit there and do nothing, but I totally get it that the teachers may not know what my kids are able to do. So over the years, I have given like sent out Google forms and different things, asking my students what they've done at their internships. And this is also on their weekly reflections that they turn in. And so all I did was I took all those Google forms I'd sent out, put them into one document, and then copied and pasted the stuff here. And so this is all the things that my students have said that they've done. Like, well, maybe not all, but a pretty good list of things that they have said. So, and this is also the mentor feedback is a Google form also. So, and I've asked them to list tasks over the years. And so these is some of this from interns, some of this from mentors, but this is just helpful and gives them like a starting point, especially for the people that have never had an intern before and need a little help. So this actually just started at the end of this year. This was like a ridiculously put together, but very helpful. I will do it forever. Okay, I didn't show you the weekly reflection. Let me see. Okay. So here's the assignment. So it's, sorry, I got distracted because I was thinking about asking you. I hate it that when I search for things in my drive, that everything of it is ever attached to Google Classroom is there. I mean, I don't need all those copies, but if there's a way to turn that off and make that not happen anymore, please tell me. But anyway, here is, so they have to tell their name, the date, and I have them put my kids come to me on all right, here is the weekly internship assignment. They come to me every Monday and Friday and go to their internships on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And they put their names, the date, internship, school, mentor, teacher, and then if they were absent for any reason, if they were absent and what the reason was, and if they were late and what the reason was. And then down here, activity during internship, and no, there's like 4 bullets they're explaining, because they're always think that they do the same thing every week. And I tell them that just, even though they may be going through like the same motions, there's still like different things happening. Like maybe they help the kid, a different student, and they had different struggles. Or even if you're reading the same book every day, like was there a focus on a different content, or when you were going in, did you have a different conversation with like a kid that you learned something from? So even though it appears to be the same thing, it's not always. It's not the same thing. There's different things to learn from every single day. So I tell them, it says on there should be at least one activity for every day. And then I have to be specific. Keep in mind, if you're repeatedly filling the same activity, I will confirm with your mentor teacher and possibly switch you, because if they're not holding you accountable for what you're doing, then I'm going to move you to a different room. And so that just really, that's in there for like lazy students that just want to jot down the same thing every week. And then I put on there that these will periodically be sent to your mentor teacher. And then for this over here, I just explained that a routine activity is something you do often. A new activity is something you've never done before. So like put those little like bits of information on there. I really have never sent those to the mentor teachers before, but I put it on there so the kids will be less likely to lie. Okay. So let's see, we talked about intern. Let me just look at my internship folder and see if there's something I haven't shared with you. Of course there is, I already remember. Okay, so there's an observation form in here. Students fill this out their first week that they're there. And then so I do a lot of things through Google Forms when I'm getting information from the kids. And so I have their teacher request, or their mentor. They don't get to request a teacher. They get to request a grade or subject. So they put their top 3 choices in there. And then they have to turn in a paper permission slip, but I also have them put their transportation on here, like what they're going to be able to, whether they can ride with somebody or not, or have somebody in their car if they drive. And that way I just have that in a Google form. It's real easy for me to access. This is how we get to our internships. I just have to figure out the transportation. Like it's like putting pieces of a puzzle together. We have like 11 different elementaries and 2 junior highs, 2 middle schools, and a freshman academy. And based on their preferences, and if I need to just get people at the same schools, which we only go to there's 3 schools that are elementary schools that are close to us. So, I try to get them all as condensed as possible. I don't want them like spread out all over the world for when I'm checking on them and stuff, but I just find who because I take volunteers. Principals don't like make their teachers take my kids, and so I get the request, and then I look at what transportation we have available to us, and then I just piece it all together. And by the time I am finished, before I even give them their replacements, I tell them not to complain. I'll be super hurt about it. I feel them to be hurt. I'll be mad because really it does take me quite a bit of time to get them placed, because logistically it's a nightmare, especially when you have like 20 kids and then 5 drive and they can only have 1 kid in their car, and how do you get them places? If I can't get them anywhere, then I have to place them at high school, which isn't ideal because they see high school teachers. Sorry, I was shaking the camera. They see high school teachers in their classrooms every day, and it's harder to teach lessons to your peers, and to like be the authority figure in the classroom and stuff like that. But unfortunately, like that's just what we have to do. We don't have any other options. Okay, so they submit their request, and I get their transportation, got that figured out, and then their permission form looks just like that other thing, and it just kind of explains some things to their parents and whatever. And then I am super, I don't know if intense is the word about their expectations, but you know, I barely have enough mentors to take my students, and if they go over there acting a fool, then it's a direct representation of me. And if that teacher won't take another intern, neither will their people around them, you know, like that their teachers shared that information with. So we go over the internship expectations, and I really feel like I pride myself in not doing things that are like ridiculous, and this is a little ridiculous, but it has proved to be handy. But anyway, so this extremely long slides presentation that I'm about to show you is I make the students handwrite this whole thing, like the whole entire thing. It takes multiple days. So like I go over it with them, like either before or after they write it, but you know, I make them, well, I'll tell you one in a minute, but okay, so I make them carbon copy me on all their communication with their mentor. You know, I can't help unless I know what's going on. And also, if they come to me the day before they're supposed to teach their lesson, and like I've been trying to get my lesson date and I can't, you know, blah, 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 then I'm going to say, well, did you email them? And if you did, then why don't I have documentation of that email? It's just kind of hold everybody accountable. And, you know, also if they've been trying to get like the topic for their lesson or something, and the teacher is not, and they come to me and say that the teacher's not being helpful, then I need that in writing, because I'm not going to go talk to a teacher as if they're not doing something right, and then my student be lying, you know. So I just need, you know, ever since I've been asking for documentation, there's like never been a time where the teacher just has not been helpful. But anyway, and then they also have to email their mentors before 8 o'clock if they're not going to be at school that day. They also they carbon copy me on all this stuff. This is just information about communicating with the kids that are riding with you, the person taking you, attitude, work ethic information. I'm not going to read this because you can look through it, but assigned times, you know, what the assignments are, exact responsibilities for the assignment, and all this. Ever since I started having them write them, like I super feel like a jerk when I do this, but they have been like, they've gotten a certain grade or they've missed something, and they've been like, I didn't know I needed to do that. And I have straight pulled out their handwrite, their internship expectations, taken a picture, circled it with my little Photoshop app, put arrows to it, and then send it back to them and say, well, you wrote it, and I went over everything you wrote, so you heard it and you wrote it down. So you had the opportunity to know it. I can't help if you didn't pay attention. So that's been like super handy to have. I also and I need to update this because a couple things have changed, but I video the presentation of the internship expectations with me talking about it. It's just like a screencastify recording or whatever, and that way anybody that's absent, or if I get new students or whatever, then they have that information. I don't have to re-go over it. Before they go to their internships, they send an internship intro email to their mentor. I send them this on Google Classroom with an example, and then they fill in red. They're welcome to like change up the wording to suit their personalities, but like the overall gist has to stay the same. And then they have this bit of information down here that they fill in and attach. So this goes, they email this to their mentor teacher after I have them placed for sure, and their mentor knows that they have somebody coming, and then they will get this from their person, and they'll know what they look like and all that. Right here is a form here. They submit all their lesson dates on the same Google form, and that way I know when I need to have a camera available. I have always done flip cams in the past, but they started messing up, and they're like more expensive to buy now than they used to be. So now I use our iPads, which have their own set of struggles, but we have these covers on them where the iPads can stand up, and the students upload those to YouTube or to their drive and share those with me after they teach their lessons. And so that kept me from having to like be the one responsible for getting the video off of however they were recording it. And then before I grade it, they do the self-graded lesson, the self-graded rubric. And then because they have the times listed, so it's easier for me to grade. And so they have to teach their lesson, check out the camera, do the reflection on their lesson, turn in the self-graded rubric, the reflection, their lesson plan to me. Then I will grade their video, and that way I just have all that stuff to reference, like as I'm giving them the grade and giving them the feedback and stuff like that. And then other than that, while they're at their internships, they're just expected to get as much student interaction as possible. Obviously, that's not always possible, but if the teacher's lecturing or whatever. But if my kids can be of assistance to someone or do something for them, then I want them to be. I ask if they're not like the errand boy or girl. I don't want them just to be over there like running errands for people, but if that happens occasionally, that's fine, and I would sure rather that happen than just sit there and do nothing. Okay.
Hello. I'm sitting in my bedroom with bad lighting at the end of the day after I've been cleaning and whatever else, looking a hot mess. But anyway, the last video, I had to take it out of the one I did about the content, and so it just cut off randomly. So I just wanted to get on here and say that that is all the information I have about internships. If I left anything out, let me know. I'm happy to help you in any way. Have a good night. It's not night when you're watching this. Have a good day.